Let's talk about things as they are. By what they are, we mean what things are today in the current state of your consciousness. There are things in your life that you wish were gone. There are problems that you've created which dismantle the ideals that you would like to live by. There are feelings that you contend with that make you feel terrible. All of this is the state that you walk around in, and we want to rectify this today. And the way we do it is to first understand that anything you experience you choose, and you choose it in two different ways. You choose it on a level of consciousness, which means you intend to get something, or you choose it through your unconscious behavior and belief systems, which means it always happens to me and I don't know why. Now both of these things are operating concurrently, so you always have a combination of things going on. Your life as you intend it, and your life as you undermine it through your unconscious patternings. And the two things fight all the time. I want a lover, why don't I have a lover? I want more money, I can't seem to keep more money. I want a friend, but I don't have a friend. You can ask all these questions, and we will give you the same answer any time. That when you have a pattern that sabotages your own life's intentions, you have unconscious patterning that needs to be cleared. Now this is one level of understanding, and we will say that this is number one. Number two is quite different, and it actually has to do with consciousness on a larger level, on a global level, on a level of matrix. You are all in agreement about many things. You are all in agreement that pigs can't fly, and that's appropriate. Pigs can't fly. However, you are also in agreement about things that don't withstand the laws of gravity. And these are things like, I am not allowed to know myself as a divine being. Only the priest can give me the release of my sins. Only the Father in heaven can solve this problem. This is not for me. These are three examples of ways that you hold larger patterns of thinking. We will give you many more. We will say to you this: the belief that civilization has been here for so many thousands of years is a collective belief on this planet. It is a collective belief because the evidence you have found to date supports it. So you go into agreement with it, and that becomes your reality. If you believe that there is only one dimension of experience that you can access, and that is the belief that you share, guess what, everybody? That becomes your experience. If you believe that you can shift and move between dimensions, and that becomes a reality in a way that can be proven and experienced, everybody suddenly will say, oh yes, we can move within dimensions. But in order to get to that place of consciousness, the matrix of belief, the system of belief that has withheld consciousness, must be contended with directly. So the problem is this: you say you want spiritual growth, you say you want the alignment with the Christ, but the ceiling keeps hitting you in the head each time you try to go higher. And the ceiling is the belief systems that you have held, that others have held, that you hold as a community and as a people about what can be possible. So we ask you this: what would happen if there was no ceiling? What would your response be? There has to be a ceiling. I have to know what the limits are. I have to know what the rules are in order to play the game with myself. Do you understand this? Well, there is a ceiling. There is always a ceiling, but the ceiling changes as you align to it and go higher. As you outgrow your clothing, you don't expect that clothing to fit you. You expect to require new clothing. Well, you have to require the ceiling to get higher and higher and higher as you ascend in frequency. When you ascend in frequency, your vibration lifts. As your vibration lifts, the requirements for your growth transform themselves, and then you are presented with new opportunities to align to the next level of consciousness, and so it goes, up and up. You don't grow from infancy into adulthood overnight, nor do you grow into your Christ itself, the self that knows the truth about your own divinity and fullness in one quick reading of a book. However, what we will tell you now may surprise you. The beginning of it is the hard part. The understanding that you are the Christ and that it can be made manifest is the key. Once the key is in the lock, the door is open and you are on the run, because the energetic configurations that are required to bring this into form can be brought to you with your intention to require it. If you say to somebody, "I only want a big house with a lawn," the realtor is not going to show you studio apartments. They are going to say, "This is what you requested. I will bring it to you." If you say to the universe, "I want to manifest myself as my own divine being, as my Christ itself, as my higher self embodied, however you want to decree it," you have to understand that you set in motion a process, and once this process is begun, this process continues. You may pause, you may break, you may wander away, and you may wander back, but the evolution of your soul cannot stop itself from forward motion, and your soul already knows that this is the key to your growth. So we will say to you this: once the key is in the lock, and you have said, "Yes, I am on this journey," your soul will manifest itself, and the opportunities you require to bring this growth into achievement will present themselves one day at a time. Now, the manifestation of the Christ is not a little thing. It is not as if you get a new hairdo. It is not as if you change your clothing and then walk around in a robe and make people feel better. That is not the point at all. To be the Christ simply means to be yourself in full realization of your power as a piece of God in action. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. This is the decree. You are Word. You are an aspect of God being brought forth into light. As you journey, as you access this information, you become Christed in consciousness. When you become Christed in consciousness, you ascend. When you ascend, your vibrational frequency elevates and aligns in new patterns that cannot hold the old, and the old falls away as you rise. When you rise, your landscape changes. How it feels to see the world, how it feels to see the self from a higher vibration, is markedly different from what you can imagine. Because you understand your role as an aspect of the Creator, you move forward rapidly to bring to you the mandates of your soul's choice. When you are in your soul's choice, you achieve that which is required for your soul's achievement. It cannot go any other way. So we say to you that the process that you are choosing has consequences, and the consequences will make themselves known, and they will also be your pride, your fear, your loathing of the self and the body releasing in ways that will become apparent. As you begin to understand your own ascension, you will begin to understand that those creations within and without that you have contended with have been manifested by you individually or collectively, and can be released individually and collectively. One man cannot war with his fellow, and that brings peace, and that peace will resonate. One man can ascend into his Christ consciousness and change the world, and this has been done on a singular level many times in the history of this plane. It is going to be done now in many, many, many people as the planet begins its ascension into the new millennium of peace and understanding and truth. That has been the promise. It is the promise. And those illusions that will continue to present themselves, the self-loathing, the fear, the war, may continue in a lower frequency for those who require it. But it will not be the case as you ascend in consciousness. We said earlier, the view changes. Everything changes. Everything is changed. Now, when you invest in the self on a daily basis and you walk around saying, "I'm going to work through my stuff," or "I'm going to talk to my friend," or "I'm going to go to the doctor and discuss my problems," you are working through stuff. You are talking to your friend, and you are talking to your doctor about your problems. But that is not ascension. That is a process, and a beneficial one, of healing the emotional body on a day-to-day level. While you may lighten the load, and while you may transform your consciousness through those actions, they are actually very different from aligning to the Christ consciousness and going on the ride of your life. Now everybody, guess what, is on this ride at this time. No one can be away from it. However, the degree of understanding that you receive from your own self about what is happening, why it is happening, what is going forth, will change everything as you contend with the manifestations of your own Christed self, embodying as you. Guess what, everybody? This is the time. This is the time. This is the time. And the wake-up call has been heralded, and this is an aspect. This treatise is an aspect of a creation that is happening on a global level in different vocabularies, in different treatises, in different ways to speak to people about what they need to do to bring forth their manifestation in the divine self.